Are you a small business owner trying to figure out what exactly is all of this AI stuff going on right now? How can you be using it for your business to see more business growth, and specifically with ChatGPT? Like, what exactly is it? How am I using it especially in the content creation part of my business? What are some ideas for business owners, prompts, ways to use ChatGPT in order to show up for your business and do more of the things you want to do because you're saving yourself time in the mundane things in your business? So that's what we're going to chat about today. I am so excited. And I also want to preface this by saying I am by no means an expert in ChatGPT. I do not understand everything about ChatGPT, but this is just my understanding and all of the research that I have done so far and how I've interacted with it, how I've used it as a small business owner. And I'm hoping that it could be helpful for you too, especially if you're also a beginner just like me. So if you're wondering, what exactly is ChatGPT? If you have basically not been under a hole for the past few months, you probably have heard of it or understand that it's an AI tool that has recently become very, very popular. And essentially, like, what it is it's an AI language model that creates text content. So you give it a prompt, you say something, you ask it something, it gives you text back, and it's like unique text. And so essentially, like, directly from the ChatGPT website, it says we've trained a model called ChatGPT, which interacts in a conversational way. The dialogue format makes it possible for ChatGPT to answer follow-up questions, admit its mistakes, challenge incorrect premises, and reject inappropriate requests. So essentially, it's smart enough to know when there's something wrong, broken. It can take questions. It can take follow-up questions based on what you've already said to it. Like, it is pretty cool. And essentially, like, I feel like one of the main ways, obviously, as a text language model how we can use it is in creating content, and basically any type of content that's written content in our business. So from blog posts, social media content, emails to clients, there's so many ways you can use it for your business or your brand, even brainstorming ideas. It's a great way to brainstorm ideas for so many things, which we're going to talk about here in a second. And basically, the couple of technical things I think are important to keep in mind with it is it includes information up until about 2021. Okay, so anything recent in the last 2 years, it really doesn't know much about. So that's something to keep in mind when you are using this as a tool in your business. It also, there's a free version. There's also, you can upgrade and pay $20 a month if you would like to as well, but there is a way to use it completely for free and get started. Okay, so second thing I want to talk about, best practices for enhancing and customizing ChatGPT output. Like, when you are trying to use it for your business or your brand, how do you use this, right? Like, if you go to the website, you pull it up, it's just like a blank screen and you type stuff in. Like, what are you supposed to type? How do you interact with it? And my basic understanding is, obviously, like I mentioned, it's conversational. It's something that you can, like, basically has some sort of intelligence, right? Like artificial intelligence. Like, it knows the questions you're asking and then how to give you something based on that, based on parameters, based on things that you're looking for, right? It works really well based off of prompts or by saying it to act as something and then to create something based on that. So for example, if we are trying to create something based off of a prompt, maybe you could say, you are insert something here, like you're a business coach, you're a customer support agent, etc., and then ask it to do something based on that. Like, maybe say act like you're a customer support agent and give me an email to an angry customer about them running a refund and be really empathetic to the fact that they weren't happy with their purchase. And then you can take that and tweak it, make it your own. And it's just kind of giving you a good baseline, which then you can take and put your human brand touch on it, right? You could also do something like, give me a blank. It could be like, give me an outline, give me an idea, give me 10 ideas for blank. Insert topic here. So, for example, give me 10 ideas for an Instagram reel I could create for jewelry and showcasing my jewelry as a product-based business. And it will give you 10 ideas for that. Gives you an idea. Okay, now go back to give me you could say, okay, so based on this idea for this reel, give me a 5-sentence caption with hashtags that I could post. Right? So there's really a lot of ways you can do that. And you can even follow up if you don't like the caption it wrote, you could follow up and say, make this caption a little bit more upbeat. Okay. And then it will change it based on that, which is just like crazy. Okay. And then something going off of that I wanted to mention is I think asking like a specific question first and then build off that question instead of trying to, and you can certainly like basically bring down a bunch of stuff into ChatGPT and see what it gives you. But something that I have found to be really helpful in getting like the results that I want using it as a content creator and as a business owner is saying something like, for example, you're an Instagram expert. Give me 5 ideas for a YouTube video on how to grow your business on Instagram. And then it spits out 5 ideas, right? And then the follow-up question to that could be, give me a 5-point outline on this specific idea, like an item from the list that they gave you. And then it will spit out a 5-point outline for that topic, right? And then from that, you could follow up and say, I don't want to include anything about, let's say, hashtags on Instagram. Like you've already talked about that. You're like, I don't want to include that in a video. Give me an outline that doesn't mention hashtags. It could spit out another outline, right? And then you could say, give me an Instagram caption for this video that I could post that's 5 sentences long. And then it will spit something out, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do here. And it remembers, like it's conversational in the way that it's like you're talking to someone over coffee, right? Like it remembers the things that you had mentioned before and can give you follow-up responses. And these are unique responses, right? So don't be afraid to get specific. Remember that too, I think something that's important and that I learned was it doesn't really understand sarcasm, irony, things like that. So keep it very direct and obvious of like what you want it to do. Okay. And it can spit out. So like, here's some ideas on how to make changes. Like after you ask it to do something, like how can you ask it something else to make changes that's going to make a lot more sense for your brand or your business or what you're wanting. Here are some ways that have helped me. You could ask it to write the copy in a certain tone. So you could say, make it funnier, make it more upbeat, more direct, more personable. You could ask it to write copy in the voice of, insert a public figure here, right? Like say Taylor Swift, Joe Rogan, like there's a lot of things you could do. If you want it to have a certain a certain brand voice to it, and there's someone that you want a very similar like feel, word choices comparatively, okay? So you can do something like that. The max response limit here is 3,000 words per response back to you. So if you do want something longer, you can actually use a prompt that says keep going. So if you just type in keep going, it'll keep going with its response, which is pretty cool. I feel like that's pretty cool to know so that you can help it keep generating a response if you do hit that word limit. You can also give it more context. So you could say, for example, like I was mentioning earlier, like I don't care about hashtags, generate a new outline that doesn't include hashtags. Or you could say something like, I actually really want to mention Instagram Reels in my outline. Can you create a new outline that includes that, right? And it knows context like that. So you can really help to craft it how you want. You can also say make it shorter. You can ask to make it longer, ask to make it a certain length. You can also, there's a button there that's the regenerate response button. If you want something totally new, if you just didn't like the response at all, you can also regenerate the response, which I think is a pretty handy feature. Okay, so a few ideas on how you could use it for content creation, because at Stephanie K's Education, we teach you a lot about how to grow your brand online with content creation. So specifically, how can we use it for that? And then I'm also going to give you some bonus ideas for things outside of content creation that you could absolutely be using ChatGPT for. First thing is coming up with ideas. So this is a great way, I think, to brainstorm ideas, come up with initial outlines. I really don't recommend, for a lot of reasons, just copying and pasting whatever they give you and calling it good. Like use it as like your first draft starting base and then go from there. It kind of gets rid of that, like for you having to either make a decision about what to create or having to come up with that first draft and you're just staring at a blank page and you can't figure out what to write. It kind of gives you that good starting base to help get you going, so then you can get on with things faster, finish faster, and get back to things that you really want to be doing, especially if these, like you're using this for things that doesn't need to take up all of your time, or it's not something that you love doing in your business. So for example, you could tell it to act as if you own a macrame product company. Give me 10 ideas for Instagram Reels that I could showcase my products in. You could say I have like macrame wall decor and I sell baby teethers. Okay, so you could give it that and it will give you 10 ideas for reels you could create for your business. You could say, for example, also I'm looking, if you're watching the video for this episode, I'm looking off to the side a lot because I have a lot of very specific notes for what I wanted to give examples for. So I apologize if it seems like I'm looking back and forth a lot. But another example could be, give me 5 specific ideas on what I could ask someone in a podcast interview about planning your weekly schedule as a busy mom. Wow, like that is just like so helpful. If you're trying to come up with, like, if you have an interview coming up, you're trying to come up with ideas for what to ask them, it can really just help you brainstorm and then like go off of whatever it gives you into what other questions that you could ask, right? Or pull some of the questions they give you. Another thing that's really helpful to use is for creating outlines for your content. So especially if long form content, like what you're seeing now, I actually used ChatGPT to create the outlines for a lot of the videos that I was filming today, including this video, which is very cool. But essentially, and the way that I did it is asking it to help me write an outline. First, help me come up with ideas, but also asking it to help me write an outline. And then I totally made it my own after that, right? So, for example, you could ask it, write an outline for a podcast episode on the importance of getting branding photos done for your small business. Right? And you can even get more specific and say, write a 5-point outline, write a 3-point outline, write a hook, right? You could also say, write an outline for a YouTube video on how to use Instagram Reels as a business owner in 2023. So that's giving you a really good idea of an outline that you could use if you want to film this type of YouTube video. Again, I took the outlines when I was doing this for my own content. I take the outlines and completely make them my own, but it gives me a good starting base and good things to think about and what to include. And then there's always things that I think about, and this is where I'm adding my creative genius into it and things that I want to mention in the video and putting my human touch on it. You can also use ChatGPT for Instagram copy, like writing an Instagram caption. So for example, you could ask it, write an Instagram caption that is 3 paragraphs long on 5 reasons why buying from small business owners is important. Okay, and then you can change that, make it your own. You could even follow up if it spits out a caption to you. You could say, now add 5 relevant hashtags that will help boost my reach, right? So it's just helping you do that research for you. You can even use this for blog copy. I would say, again, make it your own. Don't just take what it spits out and immediately copy and paste. Make sure it has your brand voice. It has your creative touch, right? But you could say, write a 7-point outline for a blog post on how to start an online business. And then you could follow up with a prompt that says, use the above outline to write an in-depth blog post, or use this point in the outline and give me 3 paragraphs on just that. And then you could follow up afterward and say, now give me an Instagram caption for this blog post. Generate 3 different Instagram captions I could use based on this blog post. There's so much you could do following up from that. And again, using those different ideas for how to make changes that I mentioned earlier. If you need the tone to be different, if you need it to be more upbeat, if you want to include something very specific, you can get specific on that, okay? Some other ideas, so ideas outside of using it for content creation, and the ideas I just mentioned are the ways that I specifically am starting to use this for my own business, right? Especially creating ideas, creating outlines. And those are 2 main things that I'm responsible for in the Stephanie Case education brand. So that's a lot of what I've been experimenting with it for. Ideas outside of that I personally have not experimented with and done a lot with, but I know a lot of people do, and you can use it as a tool to create some of these things, is email copy, so sales emails. I actually did create some sales emails using ChatGPT, and I helped to give me a first draft and ideas for sales emails for a sale we have coming up, which is super fun, especially when it's very generic emails hey, we have a sale, it's live, here's the ending date, a way just to kind of put all that together. You kind of just put everything in ChatGPT, the details of it, the sale. I said, hey, I'm running a sale on digital products. They are 40 to 50% off. And here's a few of the products that are included that I want to mention. And here's when the sale ends. I'll write an email announcing this to my email list. And it gave me a really awesome email that I used probably half of it and then changed the other half. But sales emails, okay, so besides email copy, you could do product listings, for digital products, physical products, a description of what that is, right? Ebook and freebie creations, creating the outline, writing different outline points for you, right? Creating an online course, outlines for your online course, the main points you want to have in it, right? Ad copy is another way you could use this. So there's so many things you could do. And I also want to mention with email copy, it's not just sales emails. It could be like your weekly newsletters. It could be emails like customer support emails. If you need ideas on how to write something, there's a lot of ways that you can use this. Okay. And then I also just want to mention here before we wrap up that at the end of the day, just my thoughts on, is AI and ChatGPT specifically going to take over everything? Like, is it going to make some jobs obsolete? Is it going to, there's just a lot of implications of something like this coming into our world, especially as business owners. But I want to give you a few thoughts. Obviously, first, like, I am a huge fan for a few reasons of taking ChatGPT and looking at it as a tool and a resource for the things that you are doing. And I think at this point right now, first of all, for copyright reasons, like, we just don't know how that's going to play out. Taking something directly from ChatGPT and like posting it as your own, like, and not changing it at all. We just don't know like where that's going to go yet. And then also, like, because I at the end of the day, this is an AI tool, right? It's not a human. And so if you're able to know how to use this tool really efficiently and effectively, and then take it as a starting base. So as that first draft, as something to help spark ideas for you. It can be a really awesome way to then take what it's given you and put your own human touch on it. And I think it's actually it will definitely change some jobs, right? Like if you're a copywriter, a photo editor even. We're talking about AI in general. Like there's so many AI tools when it comes to photo editing. At the end of the day, like, you are the expert and you are the human and you are the person that can take the tools and implement the tools and then put your touch on it that ultimately is going to make it your own. It's going to make it sound like your brand. It's going to push your business forward, and it's going to help you to grow because you're able to save time doing things that like for me, brainstorming ideas, writing sales emails, like those aren't necessarily something that are my favorite part about what I do, right? And it's not something yet that I want to pay someone and pass off to someone. But I can use a tool like this to save me hours of time creating something like that and to give me a kickstart and to get me inspired again about what I'm creating, right? And so, yeah, at the end of the day, take it as a starting base, put your own changes on it. Don't be afraid of it. I know it can be a little bit, like, I know for me, it's definitely the first big technology change that has happened in my lifetime where I didn't grow up with it. Like, which is kind of weird. I'm 26 years old, so definitely still on the younger side, but like, I did not grow up with AI and ChatGPT and like, I grew up with social media. So I feel like it's the first time, even for me, I've, encountered technology where I'm like, I feel like I'm the grandma, like, reading books about it and like trying to learn information about how to use it, because I'm just like, I feel like it does come somewhat intuitively to me. I've been able to figure out how to use it pretty fast, but definitely still very new to me. So if you're feeling that way at all, I can totally relate, even though I'm only 26 years old. Like, it is still definitely something that's very new to me. So it's just very interesting. We'll see how it unfolds, and it's definitely changing a lot. So when this video goes up, hopefully it hasn't changed a whole lot, but hopefully we'll give you some thoughts in the months moving forward. And then as things change, hopefully we can update and give you updates, or even organically including in other content we're creating, like how we're using AI in our business and saving time. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out, drop a comment on YouTube, email us, wherever you want to. We are here to help you and answer questions. If you have anything specific you want me to dive more into, specifically on how to use it, if you want us to do like a visual tutorial on how I'm using it for, some of these things I mentioned and the ways that I'm using it, if you want me to do a tutorial on how I'm doing that, I would be more than happy to do that and record that for you and post it to YouTube, because that's a more visual thing. If you have anything else you want me to dive deeper into when it comes to ChatGPT or AI, let me know. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week. As always, hit subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. We upload new episodes / videos every Tuesday morning. So if you want to stay up to date on every single new piece of content we have coming out, be sure to subscribe. And I will see you guys in next week's video, but I can't say that because it's also going on the podcast. But I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.